expect it, but then I was like, well, of course. I don't know. That's actually like one that I have never ever watched like Total Bellas or any of that shit, but like I'm gonna at least watch like the first episode of this and see what it's like.
Yeah, this should at least be entertaining, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to checking it out as well. So it's probably not going to be a total train wreck, so we'll see. But in all reality, though, Kenny Omega draws a line in the sand with his friendships with the Bucks. We have a bit of confusing heel face dynamics on this episode. We'll definitely we'll get in there, but overall, I thought this was a very fun show. 3 solid matches on this show, I thought, and they interspersed a lot of promo backstage segments in this episode as well, working on that character development, which has been on the light side. I thought this was a good show. It wasn't like a blow-away show, but it was a solid show pretty much all the way through, I thought.
It was not a blow-away show, but given that there's only been Dynamite for like a year and a half, I felt that this was like probably top 10 Dynamites, because there were 3, and this happens other weeks, and maybe I'm wrong, but it's one of the better Dynamites. If I get 3 like really strong, if I get 3 strong matches, I'm happy. And this show had 3 really strong matches on it, so I thought it was a little bit better than what I consider a good Dynamite.
Yeah. All right. So let's set this up here. You're listening to the That's Wrestling podcast, or watching it on YouTube or Twitch. If you're watching, or if you listen to this as a podcast, we do this show live on Twitch and on YouTube. Twitch has been a little bit more consistent because YouTube has been a bit flaky lately. But it is what it is. Also, we're going to be covering AEW Dynamite today. And then after we're done with Dynamite, I'm going to restart the stream, and we're going to cover the back half of the New Japan Cup, including the finals. So we're pulling a double header tonight, so it should be a good one. And starting just a little bit late to accommodate Trae's schedule, as Caleb is moving again, or at least he is physically moving again. So while he takes care of all that fun stuff, we have Trae for the next couple weeks, I guess, if he'll be in for the next.
Sorry to disappoint, but I'm here.
If you want to come hang out in our Discord, the Discord link is in the show notes. Link to the Twitch and the YouTube channel are in the show notes. And any comments, question, feedback, you can drop those. Eric at that'swrestling.com. You can snag the RSS feed at that'swrestling.com as well. Follow us on Twitter at that'swrestling1. You can follow Trae at Wrestling Cleo on Twitter. You changed it again.
I did not. I've had a lot of trouble with Twitter because by the nature of what I do for a living, I piss off white supremacists, and they have like systems of report degrading accounts they don't like. So I've had like 5 Twitter accounts banned. So if you want my wrestling tweets, that is at WrestleIsm, like one word, the word wrestle with an E, and then the suffix ism, ISM.
All right.
And then, and if anybody wants my history and other BS tweets, it's under the Kepi, KEPI.
All right. Send me the links to that, and I will drop them in the show notes when we are done, so everybody can have those. So just remind me. All right, so let's get into this show. We kick it off with Kenny Omega and Matt Sydal. This match is coming out of AEW Elevation, which I did not watch because there was like 15 matches on it, and then there was like 15 matches the next night on AEW Dark. So, yeah.
I have not watched Dark in it's just because I'm much busier now. I have not watched Dark in 3 months. I have not watched Elevation yet.
I really haven't been watching Dark that much at all since the pandemic started, because that's when the shows got so bloated. Pre-pandemic was great. 3 matches, some character, out of there under an hour.
Well, I still watched it all the time, but it's just at the same time I started to get more busy, And also, I started watching Impact, and that became my priority on Tuesday.
So anyways, this came out of Elevation. This match was Kenny Omega and Matt Sydal because Matt Sydal had basically a gatekeeper match with Michael Nakazawa. He beat him handedly to get a shot at Kenny Omega. This is going to be a 20-minute time limit match, and if he beats Kenny Omega, he gets a championship shot at Omega. But of course, Matt Sydal is not going to beat Kenny Omega. So Don Callis joined commentary. Kenny was in control for a lot of this. Matt Sydal made like small little comebacks here and there, but got cut off quite a lot. Near the end of the match, Matt Sydal set Omega up onto the top rope. Kenny slips out from underneath and drops Sydal on the top turnbuckle. So it was kind of funny because he basically did a split-legged moonsault and landed on his feet. So, like, it wasn't even, like, a bump at all. But he did kind of play off, kind of like he jammed his leg or something when he landed. Kenny hits a Snapdragon and then a neckbreaker. And then JR was talking about how Tanahashi does a dragon screw leg whip. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything that just happened? Matt Sydal hit his finisher kick and twisting neckbreaker thing. What do they call it? Lightning strike or something like that?
Lightning spiral.
Lightning spiral. Omega kicks out at 2. Omega catches Sydal coming off the top rope, trying to hit a Meteora. He throws him into the buckle, so he gives him a buckle bomb, then a power bomb, then a V-trigger. Kenny gets 2. And then Omega lifts up Sydal for a one-winged angel. Sydal turns that into a poison Rana, but really can't do much with it. Kenny comes back with a V-trigger on a Matt Sydal sitting on the top turnbuckle, and then he picks him up, hits the one-winged angel, and that is all she wrote. I thought this was a really, really fun match. The outcome was not in doubt at any point, but I thought it was a good opener.
Yeah, I was so excited when I saw that they were opening this because these guys are awesome together. They were awesome here, just so smooth. This was the best that Matt Sydal has looked like since he was in New Japan several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a hell of a match. Sydal countering the one-winged angel into a poison Rana was fucking sweet. And then Sydal got a near fall on a victory roll that was the one that I actually bid on for half a second. But Kenny Reality got the one-winged angel and won, and this match was awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of anticlimactic on how it kind of went, but of course we have more Kenny to talk about later on in the show, and then that's really pushes on. This was really just a good match to start it off. They cut to backstage with Alex Marvez and the Dark Order. He is talking to John Silver, who is going to be facing Darby Allin at the end of the night for the TNT Championship. And John Silver says he's ready. They do these hilarious, dodging coffin drops. Somebody stands in front of them and they do a coffin drop trust fall backwards. And I believe Colt Cabana did one, and then Stu Grayson does one, and Dark Order keeps catching them, and then 5 goes up, and they all step out of the way, and he just falls backwards onto the. Luckily, he just landed on the couch, but
poor 5.
But yeah, 5 is pretty much the butt of all the jokes if you don't watch BTE. But he's also been the butt of the jokes in Dynamite lately too.
Okay, I had a thought a week or two ago. Because of I think, and this is just me thinking of an idea and fantasy booking it maybe, but I think that Angels turns on the Dark Order and joins Matt Hardy's crew.
That would be interesting. Yeah, that would make sense. I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious how much it plays on him because it doesn't seem to bother him. To that point,
well, it doesn't seem to bother him, but he's been building up. It's been a long time for him to have been building up resentment, and he's that kind of he's like Private Party, like a young impressionable guy that the manipulator can. So that was the thought that I had a week or two ago. That we'll see.
I don't even remember what he looks like without the mask. I don't think I've seen him without the mask.
He looks like I don't know. He is a bald guy with a goatee, like two other guys in the Dark Order. So it's probably good that he wears a mask.
Anyways,
I think he was bald.
I think so. I think so because he kept trying to put hair under his mask so he could be the hair guy. But Alex Reynolds is already the hair guy. Adam Page is there. He steps in, talks to John Silver, says it's a big opportunity, but don't worry. No matter what happens, they're all going to be proud of you. So Adam Page has friends.
Yeah,
and that's
Dark Order has lots of friends. That was the theme of this show. The Dark Order has lots of friends.
Yeah. Was it on Dynamite where Evil Uno said that they wanted to take a more righteous route, or was that on BTE when he was giving them the speech of changing their ways and helping people?
That must have been on BTE. I need to catch up on BTE.
Okay. Next match is Adam Page versus Cezar Benoni. The lower third of Adam Page's entrance said, got friends in dark places. Adam Page gets a few moves in. Benoni catches Hangman's crossbody to the floor. That's a lot of weight coming down for him to just catch him doing the crossbody over the top rope to the floor. He drops Adam Page on the edge of the apron, but back in the ring, Page fires back with some strikes, tries to lift up Benoni, but he is too big. Hangman does come back a minute later with an exploder and a buckshot lariat for the victory. So pretty much just a squash of Cezar Benoni for the most part, except he did get that one little spot showing off his power. I'm not sure what they're doing with Cezar in general, but
he's got a good look and he's not terrible in the ring. Like, he might make a career mid-carder. And now he's friends with Dolph Ziggler's little brother and a dude who wrestled in Evolve after Evolve was relevant.
So yeah, it was really just to make Adam Page look good, give him a win, and that was about it. Lance Archer video. It's just with him. Jake Roberts is not there. He says, Sting, I looked up to you. I think everybody who gets into the ring these days has looked up to you. Without Sting, there would be no Lance Archer. He says, this bat used to mean something. It used to mean justice, but now it's the Murder Hawk Monsters time. Essentially what he said.
I like the idea of them doing Darby versus Archer with Sting and Jake in the corners. It's a callback to Sting and Jake's feud in WCW. And I don't know. I wonder if they'll do. I think they can't use the name because WWE owns it. But I wonder if they're going to do something like spin the wheel, make the deal. Because I would like that.
So, do you think that's where they're going? They're going Lance Archer Darby, not Lance Archer Sting.
Yeah.
Interesting, because everybody seems think they're going Lance Archer Sting, not Lance Archer Darby in Sting's stead.
I don't think Sting is going to be wrestling as much as people think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But the matchup makes no sense to even have Lance Archer going against Sting anyways.
Like, I feel like that it would be best for all involved if we saw Sting wrestle like twice a year max.
Right.
If he is going to... He is a 61-year-old man with spinal stenosis.
62. He just turned 62 last week.
He is a 62-year-old man with spinal stenosis. Why do you want him to wrestle Lance Archer? That is a terrible idea.
And also, he needs to be on TV less.
Yeah, he does need to be on TV less.
He's on this show too. He has not missed a week since he has debuted. He's been on every single Dynamite.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be there for no reason. Like, if you want to have him second Darby, but then he does this, Darby does his entrance, but he also does the Sting entrance to second Darby. That's fine, but he doesn't need. I don't know. He doesn't need to be on here talking every week or be. Yeah.
We have after a commercial break. I'm not even sure how these were laid out with commercials because there are so many promo packages. Anyways, Tony is with Britt Baker on the stage. She says that she had he says it was one of the greatest Dynamite matches ever, and Britt Britt says she's not happy from the response of the audience. Says that they're all as stupid as Thunder Rosa. Says Thunder Rosa should be thanking Britt because now people are going to remember her forever. And then Thunder Rosa had the audacity to say she put the women's division on the map, but everybody has been talking about me. And then she doesn't need all the legends saying that she's worthy now and that she's a star now. And she says, "Thanks, Mick Foley, for the thumbs up. It took you 20 years to become a hardcore legend, and I did it in one night. And with 87 tacks in my back and the blood running in my eyes, I've never seen as clearly as I do now." And that Tony Khan keeps looking for all these legends when you have one of the biggest ones standing right in front of your nose. And AEW aren't the two most important letters. It's DMD, which I thought was great. It
was a good promo. Very good promo. Britt she's a legitimate star.
Yeah. Have you heard her interview on Oral Sessions with Renee Paquette?
No, I need to start listening to that because they have like a lot of cool people on it.
Yeah, it was really, really good. She was talking about how Adam Cole was watching it backstage at NXT while on his phone when it was happening or when it was shown on TV. So yeah, solid promo from Britt once again. I mean, she's been doing solid work since the summer when basically all she could do was promos and she couldn't wrestle. And yeah, that match last week was awesome too.
Yeah, that injury was a blessing in disguise for her career. It really helped her find herself as a character.
I don't know how Britt ends up turning in. She gets her face busted, and that's like a huge turning point for her. She breaks or she tears her ACL or whatever, or tears the outside at the PCL or the MCL. I don't know. Yeah. And again, she gets injured and comes back even better, which I always think is hilarious. Next up, we have a backstage. Christian Cage is talking with the Varsity Blondes and Dante Martin. Dasha comes in, asks about what they're talking about. He says, I was just giving them some advice because, I was in a tag team, so, I know a thing or two about that. Frankie Kazarian comes in and he asks Christian, when is the work gonna start? Because his shirt says outwork everyone. And Christian says next week, but he doesn't have an opponent. So if Frankie wants to step up, Frankie says that he's got a match on Elevation on Monday, so he should check it out. 7 years is a long time to be out of the ring.
Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian sounds like a great pro wrestling match. They wrestled in Impact like 1,000 years ago, and it was good. So I am like Frankie Kazarian is a really, really, really good pro wrestler and the perfect guy to put in there with Christian in his first singles match back in forever.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing how this goes, because this is going to set the tone of how the rest of Christian's stay is going to work.
And I hope that he's still Christian, because Christian's a great worker.
Yes. You weren't on. I was talking to Caleb when he was on, and I always thought Christian was the better wrestler out of Edge and Christian.
So did I.
Okay, so and the better talker too.
Yeah, I've been a Christian fan like since I started watching wrestling.
For those of you with the benefit of flash photography, I remember the one that they did in Boston because it was he did the Bill Buckner spot
was that the one with the ball rolling under
his legs? Yeah. And so he screwed the World Series in '86. Anyways, we move on. We have the first match of the Pinnacle, their existence. FTR and Shawn Spears team up to take on Dante Martin and Varsity Blondes. Is Darius injured? Is that why he is out?
He must be.
Because I just think it's kind of weird that both a guy from Top Flight and a guy from the Acclaim both went down with injuries, right? And they both debut at like the same time, and they both go down at the same time. It's kind of a bummer because Bowens is injured too.
But hey, man, serious credit to Tony Khan for this. Like WWE, when one guy in a tag team gets injured, they'll just shelve the other guy for 6 months or whatever. Like, no, at least these guys are around having matches. You know, Max Caster got a push.
Right. Yeah, he had that match. And then who was it?
He was in the ladder match.
Yeah, he was
10,
beat
and
10.
then it was the ladder match.
Yeah.
He was in the ladder match.
So, yeah, good to see. I mean, and Dante, he just turned 20, like, 3 weeks ago. This kid's insane. Pillman and Spears started off. The heels take control for a short bit. The faces make a comeback, and they were about to do a triple dive. And for whatever reason, they decide to stop when Wardlow stepped in front of the crowd that they were going to jump onto. I don't know why that would cause them to stop.
Well, Wardlow is really scary.
Yeah, but people do dives onto like piles of like 30 people. So I mean, what's one more guy?
On Wardlow. Cody knew the secret. You can only dive on Wardlow if you're coming off the top of a cage.
The heels get the heat on Brian Pillman during the commercial. Dante gets a hot tag, takes out Dax. Shawn Spears comes in with all types of craziness until Dax gets hit with a brainbuster, and then Dax hit a brainbuster. Shawn Spears hits the C4 on Dante, gets the pin. Kind of weird how this was set up. Since I was watching it on the fight feed, it was fine because the match just continues through the commercial break. But I heard people complaining, like if they watched it on TNT, is like the match started, went to commercial, comes back, C4, end a match.
Yeah, that's some WWE shit. Not a fan of that. But I watched the Fight TV feed too, so I wasn't bothered. But yeah, can't speak for the TV production planning.
They do picture in picture though, so I'm okay with that. And one thing that some people were complaining, like with big spots happening during the commercial, it's like, well, you're watching it on picture in picture. And if they just got the heat on the heel for 3 minutes during the commercial, then what's the point of the picture-in-picture anyways?
And also, some shit might happen in the picture-in-picture because in theory, it's a real thing that's happening, and it's if they did like WWE style and just did rest holds for the commercial, man, it would suck and look fake. So right. Yeah.
I mean, I actually just listened to Cody's Talk Is Jericho appearance a couple months ago, and he was talking about how Brody Lee and him wanted to do the table spot in the commercial because that would be like, well, we're not going to stop just because the commercial's here, so doing the table spot in the commercial is how a fight would go. It just keeps going. It doesn't stop because they're in commercial.
Eventually, they have to have a match end during the commercial.
Yeah, that was actually one thing that Cody said. We need to have a finish in the commercial, too.
Yeah, they need to do that. But yeah, this was there for the Stars to get over beating the underneath guys, and that was what happened. And the promo after was good.
Yeah, the promo after, Tony comes down to the ring. Cash says the Pinnacle is not just a name or a group, they're a family. Dax calls out Santana and Ortiz. MJF says he thought Jericho would be coming out of the back to break down the walls, but the only thing he's breaking is the chair he's sitting in. And MJF says, you guys should be running out here, but you won't because you're scared. And Tony tries to say that, hey, the inner circle's hurt, and you know that. And MJF is so incensed that Tony would have the gall to say anything to him. He backs Tony down, and he's like, what, do you have something to say? He's like, no, never mind. And MJF says that we're about to be holding all the gold, essentially, and because if you're in the Pinnacle, you're always on top. Solid stuff from MJF. MJF is so good. He's
fucking Roddy Piper. He really is. He's a great promo.
Team Taz, a short segment. It's just a video out back, and Taz starts off saying that, there's no problems with Team Taz. He says Cage apologized to the group for complimenting Sting. He apologized specifically to Ricky Starks. Says everything is good with Team Taz. He asks if everything is good of each of the guys. Ricky and Cage are not very convincing. Things are not all good with Team Taz.
Yeah, it's... I kind of had the impression for a while that it was going to end with Brian Cage going babyface.
Especially after last week.
Yeah.
Next up, we had QT Marshall was on the stage with Tony, and Tony had to ask him, what's up with you? He abandoned Dustin in the Battle Royale at Revolution. He was slow to join the group to save, I don't remember who. He walked off when Lee Johnson was getting beaten down and all this fun stuff. So QT says he's frustrated. Yeah, he's Cody's friend, and that's probably why you think I'm even getting this time to begin with. He says, yeah, being his friends does have his perks. He calls out that his wife is in the crowd, completely blowing off the storyline of the bunny of the past. He was involved with the bunny for 5 months. So, interesting there. Says Cody taught him the value of doing the work. He says he's done more actual work in AEW than anyone else short of Tony Khan. He bitches about having to do stuff like making sure Cody's coffee is hot and that his shirts are cut correctly. And he woke up one day, realized no matter there was no ladder high enough that he could jump off of. And no matter what he did, no matter what matches he won, there was always going to be the little footnote of Cody's friend. The crowd starts chanting, Cody's friend, which is going to be a hilarious chant if that continues on once he turns super heel. I'm assuming by next week. Cody's friend should be a ongoing chant. He says the only way to get out of Cody's shadow is to have an exhibition match with him. Cody comes out, says, I fully understand the angst, and while I don't really want to do this, my heart says I don't want to have to do this. I'll give you the match. Arn Anderson can be the ref. And he says, but I don't want to hurt you. If I get the figure 4 on, I'll let it go. If I hook the crossroads, I won't go through with it. So we'll do the match friend to friend. They shake hands and they head off.
Good for QT. He's good and deserves something. So
yeah, suddenly, finally, I actually care about what QT Marshall is doing. This is actually a pretty impassioned, given the flaws, even removing the flaws of the content. This was a good impassioned promo, and they got where they needed to go. Cody, I thought came off. Some people had the weird opinions that Cody came off really unlikable here, he was talking down to QT Marshall. But I didn't feel that way at all.
No, neither did I.
Okay, so I'm not alone on this one. All right, but he was an impassioned promo from QT, and he is a really good wrestler. And even though a lot of people don't see that in him, I don't know why.
Yeah, but he is a really good wrestler, and that'll be a big pay-per-view match on it's going to be like Cody and Dustin by the time we get to, and I bet that's the match for Double or Nothing, Cody and QT.
Oh, that should be a banger if they go all out and they give them time, and it could be just a brutal match.
If y'all don't know, y'all are about to see QT Marshall is a really good wrestler.
I always liked him because he purposely made it look like he was a bad wrestler early. When he did the crap dive, he couldn't believe that the dive worked at the early episodes.
Oh my god, that was the one Dynamite that I was at. It was in Dallas, and I wrote on Twitter, and QT liked it, that QT tried to do a Sasuke segue, but it ended up looking more like a Sasuke Rascal assisted mobility scooter.
This is good stuff. Next up, we're going to have Pentagon, Fenix, and Laredo Kid. First time back seeing Laredo Kid since Fyter Fest, I believe, the first one.
Yeah.
Versus Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler. This is an inset promo. Fenix says, I've beaten both of you on singles. And then Penta says in Spanish. And then Alex Abrahantes does the translation. Alex is so good. And he should be Penta's manager from now on because he is completely into it. And instead of just being the translator that just regurgitates the words, he puts emphasis on everything.
I like this. I like this deal a lot. With the, I like that the guys can just speak Spanish and a guy can translate it for them, but like sound like he's actually saying something and not just sound like he's regurgitating what they said. I really, really like this act.
Yeah, there needs to be a Penta shirt that has Penta like front and forward, and just like a little bit back over the shoulder is Abrahantes, looking how he was looking in this. He was looking badass, like, yeah, I'm hanging out with the cool kids and they're gonna kick your ass. And it should just say at the bottom, Penta says. So he said, Penta says that the Bucks have something that belongs to them. So, meaning the titles. So. Looks like they're wanting to go to the titles, though. We have Fenix and Pac have a title shot guaranteed to them for winning the Battle Royal. Are they going to substitute out somebody? Is Pac legit hurt, or is he just in England? And
I don't know. I hope he's coming back because Penta's cool and the Bucks and Lucha Bros is always good, but God, the thought of the Lucha Bros against Fenix and Pac sounds so awesome.
Yeah, so that match already is going to happen at some point. They've already earned that title shot, and it was actually supposed to happen within the next couple of weeks. But if Pac is really injured, then I guess that's a different thing, and we might have to push that off. So yeah, I guess we'll see where it goes. Because obviously Lucha Bros versus Bucks is always a good match, but they always try to kill each other as well. Nick and Fenix have a good opening sequence. Penta and Matt pair off. They have a good one too. Matt kicks Penta when he wanted to do his hand gesture. Good for him. Because I hate everybody just sitting back and letting Penta do that. And it takes like 20 minutes. Just kick him, all right? And then Matt did that. Cutler and Laredo tag in. The Bucks run interference at one point. Fenix sends them to the outside. Penta hits a dive. Cutler hits a dive. Laredo Kid hits a moonsault off the top rope to the floor. They get the heat on Laredo Kid through the commercial. Once the commercial is over, Kid... gets tagged out. The Lucha Bros go crazy. Nick and Fenix have a great trading sequence of strikes, just like super kicking each other and just kicking each other and punching each other. Matt hits 2 Northern Lights suplexes. Penta runs in to try to cut it off. He takes a swing. Matt ducks it, grabs Penta, and includes him in the third. The Bucks hit risky business on Laredo Kid. Springboard elbow drop from Brandon Cutler for 2 count. Bucks and Cutler hit a horrible alley-oop indie taker. Like Brandon Cutler did not get very high. He barely leapfrogged Nick's head. So it wasn't that good. You didn't get that much height. Bucks end up taking out Lucha Bros. They're fighting on the outside when Laredo Kid hits a Spanish fly off the top on Cutler and gets the pin. I love how Laredo Kid did his Spanish fly. Did you see how he landed?
Yep. It was awesome.
Yeah, because in most time you see the Spanish fly, the guy just lands next to him. This, he transitioned, so he landed on top of Cutler, basically straddling him in the mount position. So that makes way more sense than just doing a flip off the top rope and pulling the guy with you. That makes way more sense when he transitioned and landed on him.
Laredo Kid is awesome. I'm glad he's back. this match was awesome, and they were at the top of the hour on TNT, and they tore the house down. So this was a great thing to have in that spot for, if you were flipping channels and saw this, you might have stayed and thought about it and watched it a little bit.
Jay in the chat says Pac has an ankle injury. Hopefully it's not a serious one, and he will be back soon. Let's see. Post-match. While Laredo Kid was celebrating, Kenny runs out and attacks Laredo Kid from behind. He has a microphone, and he is just crazy, man. This guy's on speed or something, and he says he's having vivid flashbacks. I remember 2019, the first Fighter Fest. He's kicking Laredo Kid. He's like, I remember you being there while he's kicking him. He says, 3 years ago, we had a choice. 12 years of friendship. I like to call that a family. 3 years ago, I had a choice. Did I choose to stay in my home with the people I loved, with the people who loved me, the fans that loved me, the fans that I loved back? No. Did I go to greener pastures in New York? No. And then you might say that, Kenny, you chose AEW. No, I didn't choose AEW. I chose you, meaning the Bucks. I chose the Young Bucks. I chose to come here with you to make this the best wrestling promotion on the planet. And rather than sit in the high school cafeteria with the cool kids and the captain of the football team, referring to himself, you chose Brandon Cutler. I chose you, and you never chose me back. And sure, you might call, maybe Mr. Callis comes off as a bit abrasive. He said it abrasive, which I thought was kind of funny. But I'm going to give you guys one more chance. He puts up the too sweet and says, toss it up. And Kenny puts up the too sweet. Are you guys with me? It's now or never. Look at you guys. You can't stand with your family. You chose him over me. And then the Bucks turn and walk away. Kenny is yelling at Brandon Cutler like, yeah, carry their bags. Yeah, be their cameraman, as they walk off. The Lucha Bros come in from behind, give Kenny a double super kick, and they make their leave as well. And the Good Brothers run out after basically everybody's left to help Kenny up. And he's got blood running down his chin, and he throws up a weak thumbs up because he can barely stand. He's trying to put on a strong face, but they're basically having to prop him up to keep him on his feet.
It was one of those segments where it was good, but there was too much happening.
Yeah? What was too much about it?
If you had gone to commercial with Kenny yelling at the Bucks, I think that would have been more impactful.
So skipping the Good Brother, not the Good Brothers part, the Lucha Bros part.
The Lucha Brothers part.
I agree with you, because this is where we start getting into the territory of I am unsure of who is the heel, who is the face in all of this. So I assume at this point, Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler are the baby faces. But then we have over on the other side, Penta is a heel, Fenix is a face, and I'm not sure, but they still, they are what they are. And then they hit Kenny Omega, who is also a heel, but I don't know the reasoning behind that. Oh, going back to the Good Brothers beating down Penta a while back, so I guess that kind of makes sense. So these two heel factions have issues with each other.
The thing about AEW is that they do have heels and baby faces, but that's not in AEW. That's not which side you are on. That's just a description of your personality and character. So yeah, it doesn't matter as much because. And that's the thing that I love about AEW. It's like New Japan. Everybody's going to wrestle everybody. Like, if it comes up and, you have to, stablemates have to wrestle in the tournament, they're going to beat the shit out of each other. And in AEW, it's the same. People are going to fight people, and some of them are faces or heels as a part of their character.
Also, on one of the podcasts I was listening to, somebody was bitching about Matt Jackson winking at the camera. Do you have any idea what they're talking about?
No.
Because I watched this segment 3 times. He never winked at the camera. So I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Because I am completely oblivious on what they're talking about.
I'm so bored with the anti-AEW trolls, man.
I mean, sometimes there are legit points, but this one
there are.
I'm like, okay, like,
but that's not one of them.
Apparently not, because I didn't see it happen. Jade Cargill promo video. She calls at Red Velvet. She calls herself money. I still don't really care.
I think she's got something, but she needs some seasoning.
Yeah, get Jericho in there producing for her or something like that.
Yeah. The Shaq tag match was her first pro wrestling match. I was surprised.
I thought she had been wrestling for a few months.
I thought that Excalibur said that was her first pro wrestling match, and if he says it, I believe it.
Well, alrighty then. So I guess we'll see. But as far as like promos go, get in there and work with her a bit, because they just come off as nothing. Like they're just like so generic.
I think she's good, but she does not connect yet, and I think she just overall needs seasoning as a worker. And I think she's gonna turn out to be somebody.
We'll see. I don't really know what her background is in relation to wrestling, anyways. Like, how did she get into wrestling? Like, has she been a fan for like ever, and she always wanted to be a wrestler? I don't know if this is like a WWE picked out a hot, strong woman and then she's never heard of wrestling before, or if she actually has some tie to wrestling. I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
Brandy and Cody are getting their own reality TV show that gets advertised. It looks entertaining, so like we said, we'll check it out when it comes. Moxley and Kingston, they run down the pulmonization of Kingston's leg than the previous week. Kingston has a cast on his leg, and Kingston says, it's fine. I've broken stuff before, and I come back. No big deal. But Good Brothers, Kenny, Bullet Club, this is not New Japan. This is not 6 years ago. This isn't selling some tacky t-shirt. Ooh, I hope that stung. That's actually what Kingston says. He says, you're going to pay for this. Where we come from, we put people in the morgue for this. Moxley says, how far are you guys willing to take this? Are you willing to take it as far as us? Are you willing to get as much blood under your fingernails as us? There's a war in the streets in Jacksonville. And Young Bucks, I don't like the Young Bucks. I guess I owe them, though, after what they did last week. And I don't like owing people. I don't have a lot of patience for the whole Bullet Club melodrama stuff going on here. But as you can see, pointing to Kingston's cast, we're playing with live rounds here. If you're going to be in the game, you better be willing to get your hands dirty. These two are the best, and I want these guys to have a reality TV show.
Yes. And I also I said it about the first one last week, and just keep it up. I want Mox and Kingston doing promos together on Dynamite every week.
They're so good. I'm not even sure where Kingston... I think he lives in Florida these days. I think that's what
he's at every...
Yeah.
He's at every taping, so...
Yeah, I think he actually does live in Florida. I think that's what he said on one of the interviews I listened to recently. So, it's a little bummer because if like Moxley is back in Vegas, they can't just film something together, but they have to film it all there. Let's see. Next up, we have a AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament rematch here. Tay Conti is trying to vanquish her opponent who kicked her out of the tournament in Nyla Rose. Vicky Guerrero joins Nyla at ringside. Looks like they were having some issues with the entrance videos because they didn't play. I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't even I did not even notice.
Both of their entrance videos didn't play. Like, it was just the AEW logo up there, and like they had zoomed, they were showing the full screen, and it just hung on the AEW logo, and they're like, "Oh crap!" and it just wasn't working.
On Dark a couple of weeks ago, they played the wrong video for somebody. One of the last Darks that I watched, they played the wrong video for somebody.
That's funny. Dark Order came out onto the stage to show support for Tay Conti, but they left before basically as the match was starting, they left. So just showing some support.
I gotta say something about that.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Order coming out to support her, and it was sweet because she's not a member of the Dark Order, but she's friends with Anna Jay, so she's a friend of the Dark Order. And it's weird as shit considering where we started with the Dark Order, but I love that, it was through an unimaginable series of events, but they were on that way there kind of before that anyway. But I love that these guys have turned into dorky sweetheart baby faces.
Yeah, I know. It's true because, like you said, they were kind of on their way anyways. The problem was, half the faction was baby faces and half the faction was heels. So I'm like, how is this going to work? Because Brody Lee was not going to be turning babyface anytime soon. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson were not going to be turning babyface, I don't think. So they were having this weird debate. I thought there was going to be some faction warfare in between. Of course, unfortunate circumstances kind of pushed the whole faction in the babyface direction. But yeah, I guess it is what it is.
Yeah.
And -1 has been seconding Tay Conti on Dark.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't at this taping. So Rose takes down Conti, but Conti comes back with some submission work, some judo throws. Nyla just decks Tay with a lariat. Nyla does the move that I hate that takes so damn long. Tay Conti's hung up on the top rope forever while she climbs to the top rope and does the knee drop. She really needs to speed that thing up if she's going to do it, or do it way later in the match when your opponent is completely dead at that point, because this is way too early for this to happen. During the commercial break, Rose works a camel clutch. She chokes Tay across the middle rope. Vicky gets involved, giving Tay a slap, and she goes out to the outside to walk down Vicky a little bit. Nyla attacks from behind on the floor. A few kicks to a down Conti, throws Conti back into the ring, covers for a 2 count. Basically just wasting commercial time. This is kind of like one of those time killer commercial breaks. Conti hit a jawbreaker. Rose hits a sidewalk slam, goes for the running senton, but Conti gets her knees up. Conti hits a bunch of forearms and then 2 hard rising knees, running knee strikes, which were just awesome in the corner. I love that combination that she does. She does the one kind of straight in corner to corner, and then she runs parallel to the ropes, corner to corner, which I think is just, I love that. She hits those 2 running knees, catches Rose in the ropes, and hits a shin to the side of the face coming off of the second rope while she's kind of has her head out between the ropes. Conti hits a pump kick, but then gets wiped out by a lariat. Conti tries a sunset flip out of a beast bomb. And then Conti hits a few strikes, hits a hammerlock DDT hard. Oh my god, she spiked Nyla so much and picks up the victory. I going into this match, I'm like, Conti has to win because she's ranked number 1 on the thing, but I don't have a lot of faith in that happening. And then it did.
Yeah, man. Okay, so a year ago, I thought Nyla Rose was not good, and that Tay Conti was a Performance Center reject who was barely competent in the ring. And now Tay has improved so much that she is a much better wrestler than Nyla. Mm-hmm. And Nyla is still the exact same level of not good that she was a year ago.
I know. But I love Tay Conti so much now.
This match was really good, and the right woman won. She's the number one contender, and she just pinned the former world champion. And you think she might be the one that takes it off of Shida?
It would be weird to have a babyface do it, but I wouldn't mind if it happened, because it seems it's going to be a little longer until Britt gets a title match. Britt probably isn't going to get her title match until All Out. So if Tay took it off of Shida between now and Double or Nothing, and then she held it through Double or Nothing going into All Out, and Britt takes it off of Tay at All Out, I think that would work.
I think I don't think you want Britt to beat Shida for the title. I think you want to have somebody else beat Shida for the title. So maybe this is just fantasy booking again. Tay beat Shida at Double or Nothing, and then Britt beats Tay, at All Out or around that. And then we have the natural match of because I think you should save Britt as champion defending the title against Shida, because they have the history with the broken nose, and that's the way I would book it.
Yeah, that would work too if Shida's chasing at that point.
Yeah.
I think because we haven't really seen Shida chase that much, so I think the Shida in the chase and getting knocked down a peg a little bit and just having to crawl her way back, I think she could do good. Yeah. Especially they could do a lot more character work with her during the chase, which they have not done while being champion, which is a big bummer. I love her. I love her outfits that she has been wearing, or casual outfits with the pantsuit with just like the tube top underneath.
Hey, she has been the best. She has been the best women's world champion by far that we've had so far.
Yeah, she's really good. And I think you could end up chasing, and Shida could snag back the title in like a year and a half or so from Britt, maybe. Or who knows? If we get crowds back, because I mean, it's such a bummer that Shida had to do all this run with zero crowd.
Yeah,
kind of a bummer.
It is.
Anyways, post-match, Nyla attacks Conti. Shida runs out, clocks Nyla with a kendo stick in the back, and starts beating down on Nyla. And then, I did not see this one coming, the bunny runs out and picks up the kendo stick, clocks Shida in the back, and then attacks Tay Conti as well. Hardy, Butcher, and Blade are up on the stage. And then it clicked to me, oh yeah, Tay Conti is a friend of the Dark Order, so it makes sense that Bunny would want to take out Tay Conti, and Ali has been wrestling more. She's kind of returned to the ring over on Dark after dealing with some personal issues. And Matt Hardy grabs the mic, says that the women's Eliminator tournament was a sham because the bunny wasn't in it.
Yeah. Lots of interesting new contenders in the women's division right now, which is incredible when you consider the deplorable state that AEW's division was in a year ago.
Right.
It's much improved.
Yeah, now we have, unfortunately, Anna's injured, but Anna, Tay Conti, Ali is coming back to wrestling, Lila Hirsch, she is just really good as well. A lot of the new girls that they brought in, and sad to say, I know why she hasn't been on TV, but Big Swole not being in the division lately has kind of been nice because she's not that good. I'm waiting for...
And we're finally getting the Japanese women back in, which
right.
We didn't talk about the pay-per-view, but I thought that Ryo Mizunami and Hikaru Shida match was excellent.
Yeah.
Mizunami's really good.
Yeah, we talked about that. The first half of the match was kind of meh, but then it really kind of picked up and became a really good match after that. But yeah, getting some of the Japanese women back. We have Riho back. I'd like to see Yuka come back, but she's tied down. She can't do a whole lot right now because of her commitments over in Japan. But once once everything opens up, I mean, at least here in the U.S., we're looking decent for late summer with most of the population getting vaccinated. So
I am getting my second shot on Saturday.
Word to the wise, take ibuprofen and acetaminophen alternating every 4 hours once you get the shot, because it's going to suck if you don't.
Okay. Okay, duly noted.
Let's see. So we have that. We have a video package for Arcade Anarchy next week. So that's going to be Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor versus Miro and Kip Sabian. I'm sure Kip Sabian's eating the pin, and Miro and Sabian are done at that point.
Yeah, I would think so. Time for Miro to start doing Miro stuff.
Also, it was announced on Twitter today that Orange Cassidy's new entrance music, they got "Where Is My Mind" from the Pixies.
Oh, wow.
So for those who don't know but have seen Fight Club, is the final song at the end of the movie. So that's such a good song for Orange Cassidy too. So they announced it's actually going to be Tay Conti and Hikaru Shida versus the Bunny and Nyla Rose next week.
Oh,
yeah.
I meant to say the other natural match for when Britt is champion is Thunder Rosa.
Yes, that should be a good one. They should up it and have a 1-on-1 ladder match.
Something crazy.
We don't see too many 1-on-1 ladder matches these days.
Yeah, man, the unsanctioned match between Britt and Thunder Rosa was crazy. Fucking crazy.
Yeah. So Tay Conti and Hikaru Shida versus Bunny and Nyla Rose. Kenny and the Good Brothers versus Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. So really just that
sounds awesome.
Right? That should be a good one. Kind of came out of nowhere, but we'll see where it goes. I'm curious. Cody versus QT in the exhibition match with Arn as ref, and Christian Cage versus Frankie Kazarian. So I'm guessing there's probably going to be one more match announced sometime in the next few days.
That sounds like a good show.
Scorpio Sky promo video happens. He says this isn't a new side, it's just a side you haven't seen before. Says he's been screwed over and over, and says that he's done being underrated. He pimps his match on Dark Elevation and says that he is the face of the Revolution.
Yeah, it's fine.
So we have the heel who thinks he's justified.
I think that Scorpio Sky should have been a babyface. I don't know why. I mean, I get why. I know why you turn people heel, but Scorpio Sky should have he should have actually done something as a babyface before he turned heel.
There you go. But I mean, it worked for Britt Baker when she was floundering as a babyface, and they turned her, and it was gold. So hopefully, he was floundering as a babyface, and that's just kind of how it was. So maybe this will start to turn into something. I guess we'll see. Next up, we have the final match of the evening, and that is Darby Allin versus John Silver for the TNT title. This match was really good. They announced it was... Justin Roberts announced it as a 20-minute time limit or TV time remaining. It should be one fall or TV time remaining. Because if it's 20 minutes or TV... Don't you know how much TV time you have left? Is it less than or more than 20 minutes? So I think it was a misspoke. It should have been one fall or TV time remaining. Starts off with some lockups, some mat works. They work some rope running, and Silver just collides with Darby Allin and sends Darby Allin flying. He rolls to the outside. Darby Allin just gets ragdolled by John Silver. John Silver throws Darby halfway across the ring, corner to corner, and then he just throws him into the turnbuckle. He lawn darts him into the turnbuckle. He hits a running knee strike. Brainbuster gets a 2 count. Silver hangs Darby up in the Tree of Woe and hits 5 kicks to the stomach, completely unprotected, gut shots. So it's I would not want to take those kicks because he just laid them in. And as Darby Allin was doing a sit up, Silver just kicked him right in the back as well from underneath. He uses a gory special, turns it into a kind of a helicopter spin neck breaker. They fight on the outside. Darby gets sent into the barricade. Silver charges at him, but Darby Allin moves out of the way, and Silver runs himself into the barricade and over the barricade, and I believe it was at this point where Silver legit suffered a shoulder injury here. But you couldn't really tell. He worked hard through the rest of the match, but it's a possible separated shoulder. There hasn't been a ton of news on it yet. Darby goes for a dive. When Silver's just about to get back into the ring, and Five ends up eating it. So Five gets pushed in. Five pushes Silver out of the way, and Five ends up getting hit with the dive. And this is where Sting decides to make an appearance. He's mad at the Dark Order, even though they really haven't done anything. He's forcing conflict where there is none.
Yeah, I wrote the Dark Order didn't do anything wrong. What is Sting doing?
Yeah, Sting is pissed, even though nothing happened. Silver is I wrote because I didn't know at the time that Silver was selling the arm after landing on the concrete running into the barricade, but apparently that was a little bit more legit than just selling. Darby tries a backslide. Silver pops up, hits a bunch of kicks. Silver catches Darby's flip over stunner, locks on the Queen Slayer, but Darby squirms and gets out of that. Silver comes back with this crazy half twist DDT variant I have never seen before. It was awesome.
Cool.
Gets a 2 count. Darby rolls out of the ring at this point. There's a stare down between the Dark Order and Sting. Once again, Dark Order hadn't really done anything. They were just... Darby rolled out to the side of the ring that they were standing on already. So Sting was just kind of pissy about that. Silver goes out after Darby, so Darby can't get counted out. He has a little momentary look at Sting. Back in the ring, Silver hits some kicks to the chest. Darby fights through it, and they slap the shit out of each other. Those are some loud slaps. And this was not a tape show, so that was not the added sound effect. They slapped each other really hard. Silver counters a victory roll for a close 2 count. They fire back and forth strikes at each other. Silver sets Darby up on the top, but he gets pushed off. And then Darby stands up on the top rope, and he does a coffin drop to the floor on the Dark Order. Again, not sure why. They weren't doing anything. Made no sense. Since Silver was in the ring, why did you turn your attention to the Dark Order, who was not even doing anything? Back in the ring, Silver sets Darby up once again. He just kind of throws him off of the top rope. He covers Darby, but his foot hits the rope, so the pin is broken up there. Silver lifts Darby for a powerbomb. Darby turns it into a code red and gets the flash pin. This match was awesome.
It was, man. And I got to give credit to Tony Khan as a booker, because this felt like a significant match, and I was completely fine with Darby Allin versus John Silver being the main event. Imagine being told 2 years ago that the main event on Dynamite would be Darby Allin and John Silver, but they did it, and it was awesome.
Right. Well, really, on the first night of Dynamite, you'd be like, yeah, that guy is going to be main eventing with that guy. We'd be like, what? He's a jobber, John Silver, to begin with. It's like, John Silver's never going to main event anything, and he did. This match was awesome. It's so good. Post-match, Sting gets into the ring. He yanks Silver up to his feet, and Darby offers a fist bump. Silver obliges, and then all hell breaks loose as Team Hardy Matt Hardy pulls Darby out of the ring, and the rest of the Hardy Empire attacks Darby and the Dark Order. Tay Conti runs out to beat down the Bunny. Darby hits a dive onto Hardy on the outside and starts beating him as well as they go off the air. So we have a few factions that are kind of down each other's throats right now. We have the Hardy Empire, or they were calling them the Hardy Office. Is that their name?
The Hardy something office. There was another word in there.
The front office? I don't know.
I don't remember.
So anyways, we have Hardy's faction is having an issue with Dark Order. So we have that. We have Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. So we have two big faction warfares going on. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, man, there's like some of these segments, there's just a lot going on.
There is. I mean, that's kind of the problem when you only have 2 hours a week to fit all this stuff in.
Yeah, but I thought that this was a very good Dynamite.
This is, I guess, this would be my pitch for why I think factions on a show. I love factions. I don't know about you. Because, like, in New Japan, basically everybody's attached to a faction of some kind. There's a few stragglers out there, but it just gives built-in story, so you don't need to see the rest of the faction. If you have one guy from Bullet Club and one guy from Chaos going against each other, you have all that already built in, and you don't need to see the rest of Chaos and the rest of Bullet Club.
I agree.
It moves that story forward, and then you can ebb and flow to bigger and smaller matches and continue all those storylines. So I think it makes sense to have factions on Dynamite when you only have the 2 hours. You can do these smaller pair-ups here and there. But yeah, so much stuff happens in all these segments, and I think stringing some of this stuff out could help just not feel so jumbled. I know they want to try to get everything moving, but keeping people off every other week or every 3 weeks, I think would be fine. As long as the one thing caveat is, at the beginning of the show, after the opening credits, or before the opening credits, they do a previously on AEW 2-minute recapper, so we know everything that we need to know for the next 2 hours of television.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all in all, I thought this was a solid match, solid show. And I believe you did too. Rating wise, I think they went down a little bit from last week. I think it was 7. Oh, actually, somebody. Thank you, Davis. Davis put it in the chat. 747 for AEW, so that's down. I believe it was 798,000 last week, so down a bit. And NXT was up almost 100,000 from last week because they were like 590 something, up to 680 almost. So good to see. I think we have one more week of AEW NXT head to head, and then NXT moves to Tuesdays on the 8th or the 6th or something like that.
That's going to make a difference.
Yeah, it's going to make a difference for both of them. The 13th is when NXT moves. Impact is actually moving to Thursdays on the 8th because NXT is moving to Tuesday, so it makes sense to move. So now we can watch Raw on Monday for everybody who watches WWE. I don't. You can watch Raw on Monday. You can watch NXT on Tuesday. You can watch AEW on Wednesday. You can watch Impact on Thursday, and then you can watch SmackDown on Friday. And then pay-per-views on the weekend. And then New Japan every day.
On Friday. Get your shit together.
I know.
New Japan Strong on Friday, man. That's a good show.
New Japan, random, 4 shows a week randomly.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like a Monday, a Tuesday, and a Wednesday. Just a Cork and Hall with.
All right. Anything else about AEW before we wrap it up here? And we're going to kill the stream and then come back with New Japan after we take a short break.
Yeah. No, that's good. It was a good show.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. Those in the chat room on Twitch and on YouTube. If you're listening to this podcast, we do the show live on Twitch and YouTube. You can find the link to the channels in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe. It's subscribe on YouTube. It's follow on Twitch, because subscribe is a paid thing, blah, blah, blah. Link to our Discord is in the show notes as well. You can send comments, questions, feedback to eric@thatswrestling.com. You can also find the RSS feed over at thatswrestling.com as well. If you cannot find it in your favorite podcast app, we should be pretty much everywhere. I see 80 different platforms that were downloaded from, so we're across a lot of different distribution points at this point. I think that is it for the most part. But we will, for those watching live, we'll be back in a few minutes covering the back half of New Japan. So until then, for Trae Wisecarver, my name is Eric LaRoche, and we'll see you next time on That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.
Later.